I'll burn the pancakes and probably the house too, but baby, it's stuck to me like glue.
Hey, peeperonis. Welcome to Reflections of Evelyn. I feel like it's been a while, you know? I think the real thing is I've had a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, but then they change often. Not that they change, but they like morph, you know? And then things become not necessarily outdated information, but I don't know. It's just kind of hard to condense everything at once. You guys know me. It's hard to do. So I guess today a little bit we're going to just talk about like religion, politics, and conspiracy theories, you know, because why not? You're not supposed to talk about politics and religion and probably conspiracy theories and probably sex too. So why don't we just do all of that in this episode? Because, you know, we can, right? Let's just do it anyways, right? So I'm kind of dating this guy. Well, no, not kind of. I'm dating this guy. No, it is kind of. We got through our very first fight this weekend, and it was incredibly brutal. It was so brutal that I was like, oh, yeah, we definitely broke up. And I was telling everybody, yeah, we broke up. And then like a day or two later, And obviously, you know, you don't want to be that toxic relationship where people are like, oh my God, are you on again or off again? And like literally I had Katy Perry stuck in my head that whole weekend. Like, you're definitely hot and cold right now, babe. But, you know, there's a lot of different things going on and all different opinions about like, basically at the end of the day, I had to come to a crossroads where I was like, do you want to be that person? Do you like or respect those people that don't go through the first fight and they just break up with you instead? Same with friends, actually. When a friend and you are talking for a couple months or a couple years and you have your first fight, and this happened to me like not too long ago with a girlfriend, are you going to weather the storm? Are you going to talk it through? Or do you not want to confront the conversation and you just want to like ghost and block and end the friendship or relationship? And I have a huge issue with people that don't want to work it out, don't want to communicate. And that was the last thing I wanted to do, was be that person. So do I know if it's going to work out in the end? Nah. I wouldn't know regardless, but I'm willing to give it a shot, you know? And we're not exclusive, so if somebody else wanted to date me or if I was interested in someone else, like, okay, cool. There was a guy at the airport today. I was like, kind of like, I don't know, we were talking about tattoos. Who spends $4,000 on half a sleeve, by the way? I will admit, I mean, he basically had like, what's it called? The Last Supper on his arm. No, he didn't. But he had this like Greek mythology thing going on, and it was just like, my God, like an incredible work of art was done on his arm. I was so impressed that it was like a tattoo, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense when you pay $4,000. $4,000 for a tattoo, it's going to be expensive. Regardless, I am a very like loyal person. Like I'm kind of like a one-man deal kind of gal. But if I'm going to be with a guy who does not know what he wants and is not ready to date, then yes, I need to be a little bit flexible on being open to other people, because you cannot drag people through the process themselves. But, you know, it's a weird dynamic. Like this guy wants to try. He's down to try. He is trying. He also just super fucking sucks at it. But I can't really say that he sucks at it, because there are emotionally unavailable people out there that you will come across, and people forget that like life has a funny way of bringing people into your life. And is anybody truly ready? I mean, you really know those things when you actually like meet people. But I think there's like this thing in life or this trend online where, you know, people talk about like, you have to do this, this, and that to be ready. And then there's the people that are like, I just want to network and socialize. And if it happens, it happens. And maybe on a random day, if someone, strikes my fancy, then maybe I will not be a commitment phobe. And then maybe I'll give it a try. But then it's like, that's like, God, if you're going into a relationship like that, like, it's gonna be messy. But yeah, this guy was the typical, like, oh, I'm only on a dating app because I want to network and make friends and connections. But on the dating app profile that I read, it said looking for a long-term relationship. And he's like, that's just a thing people say. I said, no, bro, that's not just a thing people say. Get your ass off of there. Or say you want something fucking casual if you just want something casual. He's like, well, why would I do that? That sounds and looks bad. Yeah, it fucking does, bro. Anyways, it's just funny, though, because he is trying. He didn't know he was going to meet such a catch like me, but it's definitely very obvious that it's throwing him for, like, a tailspin. He just, like, doesn't know how to handle it. But he's trying. And a lot of guys did not try in the past with me, so I'm trying with him. I really fucking like this guy. I did not think I was going to like this guy, but I do. I do. And I'm also more intrigued with it because I truly got to a point where I gave up. I wasn't necessarily, I was a little bitter in the beginning about giving up because it just sucks when you give up and then, yeah, you see the world a certain way. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm bitter, but I worked through it. It was just like pain of like, yeah, some things just don't work out, right? Then I met him and I was like, interesting. Okay, I guess it is possible for me to like someone again. And I consistently say to myself in my head, thank God you are not like drowning your sorrows, wishing this other person comes back into your life. And although you will love him literally forever, you did not think it was possible to like someone again. And here you are, super, super fucking into this guy. However, he's extremely religious and he's got issues in his own fucking face, so he should not be saying anything about mine. And I try to tell him religion is a very spiritual and personalized journey for everybody. Like, how can you tell me what my faith is supposed to look like if, like, yours looks the way it does? But he's like, well, I just want you to be open to converting and open to being what that looks like for me. And then I'm thinking in my head, I've done this church thing. Like, no. Anyways, I have no problem with anyone believing in any faith. I just don't believe you have to go into an organized religion and a physical building with a lot of fucked up human beings in order to have a relationship with any God. And I think that's where we differ. So yeah, there's a lot of problems there. Like, he would definitely want to raise his kids like super conservatively Christian, but it is funny. We basically have the same morals, the same values, the same ethics, but he wants to call it God, and I just call it fucking life. So I sometimes have to convince him that I'm not a heathen, and no, I'm not a sinner, and sure, you can call yourself a sinner all you want, but like, babe, you're not that bad. Like, be a good person because you want to be a good person, not because of like God from Bible millions of years ago, like, is telling you to be a certain way. That's another conversation for another day. On to the next topic of politics. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's be very gentle how I word this. So I work for a medical courier company. And I'm an independent contractor who subcontracts for every single courier. Like, basically, like, if it has to do with an airport, if it has to do with a hospital, a nursing home, a convalescent home, a shipping, packing, or labeling company, even some, production houses, that's what I do. So it's pretty much all of them, right? So many. Probably I can name like 20 of them off the top of my head. So I'm at the airport, right, this morning, and there's a specific pharmaceutical company that is extremely well known, that has a lot of conspiracies online about COVID shenanigans. And I'm looking at the label of this company who shall not be named. And they are shipping to a research. It was a research company sending it to another research company in China. And I'm thinking like, wow, if my brain wanted to go very conspiracy theory, you really fucking could. Like, I've heard all the things that people are saying about these types of industries and what goes down with these types of things. I'm trying to keep it vague for a reason. But I had this interesting conversation with my coworker, and I'm thinking to myself, I could very easily say that really bad things are in this box going to a place where it's going to get sent back and then cause very bad things to happen in the United States or in another country. But my friend and I were kind of making a good point. He really was, let me just quote him actually, because that would be a lot more helpful to basically what I'm trying to say. Because I basically said, like, hey, like, you kind of said we work for an evil company. Like, how true is that? And he's like, I was only kind of kidding about that. But he said, of course, yes, the media lies. It's all about money. You think they really care about our health? So you can kind of understand what is in this package and where it's going and what I'm talking to. And he said, yeah, they don't care about us, but there's nothing we can really do about it. And I was basically saying to him, like, well, where are my ethics and morals? Like, am I, contributing to a plague or a disease or, and then I thought to myself, there's something in this box that could cure cancer or help save millions of lives. Or it could be, a weapon of mass destruction. One, I don't get to know that. Two, it's completely out of my control. Three, it could be a conspiracy theory or it could be exactly what it is. And the funny part is we don't get to know that. Do I think that mega millionaires know the secrets of, the Ark of the Covenant and they know exactly what's in Pandora's box? Yes. Yes, I do. I think they fucking know which plastic water bottles to stay away from, which tampons don't cause cancer, when to stay away from planes when they're dropping whatever gases that people say those people are dropping onto, the sky or whatever. When I heard people saying that the planes that go by that, like, put out those like little cloud effects, they're like, yeah, it's because they're like spraying things on people and killing them. And I was like, whoa, I've never gone that far down the rabbit hole before. That's not true. But not about that, right? But I just thought it was interesting because I was asking my friend, I was like, if you go by the media and what the American news says, aren't we supposed to be at war with China? Doesn't China hate us? Isn't there some sort of battle between like China and Russia and all these people? And then I went on like a rampage with my friend and I'm like, nah, you really can forget anything you see on the news and social media. I mean, honestly, if it looks trendy and there's trendy music in the background and it looks a certain way and it's matching up to what everybody else does, yeah, don't fucking believe it. There is such a thing as original content, obviously, but like, good luck finding that in your feeds. Like, the system and your algorithms don't want you to find original content. Ask yourself the last time in your feed you have seen original content just from a neighbor or a family member sharing something fun to you, or if it's just some random person with hundreds of thousands of views, like telling you like which guy or girl to not like. And man, I've been seeing some reels. I'm like, I'm curious. I'll click on this reel and it's 5 seconds of this guy or girl doing something ridiculously stupid. And I'm responding in the comments going like, wait, that's it? The whole point of this like 1.2 like is like you doing this dumb thing and there's no point, there's no moral, there's no story, and you've got like thousands of comments on this really arbitrary thing. I literally say this in the comments, like, this is it? This is society? This is what we've come to? The answer is yes, for some anyways. But I just think it's funny. Like, you know, we don't know what is going on. I would say 99% of us don't. When they talk about the 1%, yeah, sure, the 1% probably does know which restaurants to go to and, you know, what stores to, you know, maybe they all get an email blast that says, like, these are the places you need to eat or don't eat because of the microplastics and the cancer tampons and I'm just fixated on cancer tampons. Somebody brought that up and I was like, damn, I gotta worry about the tampons I'm putting in my body now. One time I was talking to my therapist about like killing myself over not having like a nicotine vape, and she's like, Evelyn, everything causes death and cancer in America. Everything. She says, you think the fish that we're consuming is clean and healthy? And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong. Her point was to just, you know, not be so like, don't kill myself over it, basically. But, you know, we really don't know how we're going to die. I mean, I could have some sort of genetics. Like I am predisposed, maybe, potentially. I got to be careful how I word this. I do have people in my family that have died from cigarettes and the side effects of that. Do I think that's how I'm going to go? I don't know. Can it be prevented? Probably. Fuck yeah. I'm going to put that shit out there. You know, am I going to fall through the cracks when I'm 80 years old and I'm going to have some person like drooling on their phone and they're like, yeah, we could save you, technology's there, but I want to text my boyfriend right now. I mean, that's the funny part about life. Oh man, I'm just saying, you don't know. But I'm looking at this box and I'm seeing it go to China and I'm like, we're all told that there's these problems, but it's not. It's who's the highest bidder. Does the American government care about our weapons going to other countries? No. Are you paying the right price? Like, that's truly all that matters. What is that movie with Nicolas Cage about the guns? I mean, just watch that movie. What is it? Lord of the Guns or something? I don't know what it's called, but look it up. Nick Cage. He's a dealer of the guns, and, you know, I think it's a beautiful depiction of, like, what actually happens. But basically, what wars, you know, what battles, what politics, like, do I not think that all, not just one, but all of the presidents don't shake hands with all of the dictators and they sit around a table and they drink shots and do drugs and have really nice, expensive dinners, and they're not on the up and up of what's happening. And then they just see all the propaganda that we see and they're laughing because they know what's up. You don't think they fucking have their little email blasts and they know what's going on? Like, yeah, they don't care about COVID because they're fine. They got their investments in a check before it happened. Everybody got their warnings. They knew what to do. They knew how to handle it. The main thing is like crossfires, though. I think we all affect each other whether we want to, no matter what. So in my opinion, yes, always be a good person regardless. But if not for the fact that, like, yeah, you think it's not going to affect you or your friends, it's just going to be the people below you. But that's not true because we are literally all connected. Whether a rich person has to wait for somebody in front of them or the person that's waiting on them or filling up the gas tank of their private jet, you know, had to take a sick day. There are things that are outside of your control. But I did go on a rampage with my friend and I said, if there was a God, I don't think that God intervenes. I think good and evil just kind of coexist at the same time. And he's Catholic, which is why I brought this up. And I don't even think he said that God intervened, like, according to him. I think it is what it is. And I told him, I said, if there was a God, it would be a God like you or me or someone like us. Anyone that's being a good person and wants to be a good person and cares and studies about being a good person and tries hard, well, that's the God you see. And isn't that the only God that kind of matters, is the one that you try to be? Do I think we are all gods and we can manifest our life and I'm gonna win the lotto ticket like today. Is it possible? Sure. Is that the point of manifesting and praying? No, not in my opinion. Which is why social media and psychics, you cannot just water down statements and blast it out there on the internet. Because sure, we're kind of our own gods, but I think the point is you can create the kind of person you want to be, but life is always going to still happen around you. And whether it's stoicism that you follow or just life itself, the only thing you can control is yourself and your mindset. Everything else is the Wild West, baby. But these are just my opinions. You bring it up to yourself, like what works for you. All right, so we got religion, we got politics and media mixed in there. Oh yeah, sex was the third thing, right? So this guy's arguing with me, right? He's like, no, I like sex more than you. I said, bro, that's like literally not true. Like, you're the one like denying me right now. And he's like, because we don't have to have sex every time I see you. I said, well, let's look at this from a logical perspective here. I said, if I'm only seeing you once a week or once every other week, is it really a shame if we're getting laid once every other week? Like, logically. I said, if we were under the same roof, because I was giving an example about my ex-husband. I said, if we were living under the same roof, would once a week be too little? Like, would it be irrational to believe that you could have sex 2-3 times a week? He's like, no, that's normal and healthy. I said, fucking yes, exactly. It's normal and healthy. So why are you upset with me if I want it? I think his argument was more like, we're fucking fighting right now and sex is not the answer. And I was like, of course it's not the answer. But like, he is under the impression that I think his body is just like flesh and I'm just like using him for his body. And I'm like, bruh, like, you're fine. You're a nice bag of chips. Like, I appreciate that. But like, no, I'm not that thirsty. But if we're talking about sex here, I don't care what anybody says. I recently learned that I have what's called like a stress gut. I'm not afraid to admit it. Sure, I can do 100 ab workouts a day, and I am going to work on running a little bit more and my Pilates more. I mean, it's really kind of mandatory at this point because my stress gut is a very, very real thing. If things upset me recently, I feel it in my stomach and it's excruciating and it's very painful. And I will bloat and I will get big and it's disgusting. And I don't want to say people have made comments, but like there was enough when my mom made a comment. She's like, are you going to do something about that? I'm like, fuck, thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. Like, I was already insecure about this, but thanks. Love you too. I like how I'm drinking some like gut tea now, thinking that it's going to work. I'm going to do it all. The point is, my truly valid and logical argument with any man on the planet that I sleep with is, look, bro, if I have sex with you, not only will the bloating go down, my skin gets clearer, I get dopamine and what's the other one? The other one that helps you. Anyways, it is a known fact that sex will also reduce the cortisol stressors in your body, which will retract the bloating a little bit. I genuinely see myself lose weight from it. What else? I mentioned the skin gets very soft and milky. It's fucking great. Huge stress reliever. I don't have to pay for a fucking massage because my body is fucking fine afterwards. It's really great. Also speeds up your metabolism. I think it does help the bacteria in your face, I'm not a doctor when it comes to this. I think if you're being safe and you're with someone that takes care of their body, I actually do think sometimes you got to move things around in there. And I'm not saying douching because, like, everybody knows douching's, like, really bad for you. But, like, someone's there and you move some things around in your body. I think that's a good thing. Plus, I have an IUD. So in my, opinion, you do kind of have to move things around in there because IUDs are very, very, very prone to infections all the time because it's not like you could take like a picture, like a Q-tip, and you stick a Q-tip up there in your IUD and you're like, I'm cleaning you and brushing off all the debris right now. But it's basically this thing in you that harbors and traps stuff. So yeah, if you got like a dick rolling around in there, like you're moving things around and then you release it and go to the bathroom afterwards, and then it's like a self-cleaning type of thing. Look at all of the things that I just mentioned before saying pleasure is fucking great. Intimacy is great. Affection is great. And I didn't even lead with any of that. So I do not like to be shamed and guilted for passionate lovemaking at all. But I also would like some people to tell me in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that men and women, and again, you can't generalize, but do you think that some men, and how could you even answer this? So I'm just asking, I guess, and no, I'm pretty much asking this for any guy I've been with, even though they're all different. I know the answer for me, but I'm like a woman and I'm different. So, wow, I really can't just say this. I want to know if you say something to your guy, let's just put it on you, your guy in bed, if you're like trying to like get some info out of them, you know what I mean? And you say something, are they going to tell you the truth? Because I think, it's like, I like how Google's like, no, that is not when you should ask the vulnerable questions. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is totally when I should ask the vulnerable questions. Because in my opinion, it's like they're in a vulnerable place. They're not thinking about it. It's like when you're inebriated, like you're just going to spew out what makes sense to you, like what you think, because you're not trying to put your logical, rational brain on because you're like in another dimension when you're like doing the business with somebody, right? So, like last night, I was like, are we making love right now? And he's like, yeah. I bet that was the real answer. I bet it was. But then I also made a comment like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Since like, you're hating on me for like liking sex. And he's like, well, it's too late now. But I would say that's a him problem, not a me problem. So I can't say I'm not like a kisser and a teller. I'm being vague enough. I'm not saying things that I, shouldn't say, but for the sake of arguments, I think these are helpful conversations. But I'd like to know. I'd like to know what else I can say and get away with and see if they are the correct answers. I don't know if it's biological. I'll just share one more with you because it's more embarrassing on me. But I don't know if it's biological. It's probably like a lot of things. I would say maybe 70% biological, a little bit of like my age and where I am in my period phase and whatever. But I have noticed a recent thing with me. He's not necessarily the first person I brought this up to, but it definitely to his face, yes. But I have made some daddy comments for sure. And it's not because, like, I don't got a problem with my dad. And it's not like I'm looking for a daddy. And, like, I wasn't, like, acting like a baby or anything, if you know what I mean. But it's like, yes, father of my child who's with me right now. Like, that kind of conversation. But, it's just funny to me that, like, certain things, like, come out at me now where I'm just like, man, did you just say that right now? And he didn't even blink. I'm like, why didn't he blink? I don't know. It's just weird what people say in bed. And then I guess the point is maybe afterwards you just like mention it like, hey, this is what we said in bed. And then you can like ask them when they're of like a sober, like clear-headed post-nut mind. But that doesn't even work because then you're putting them on blast. I feel like the unconscious soul comes out during sex, and that's like the honest opinion. But again, if you're running with your ego, or if you go through the ego, you go through your unconscious, and it's kind of like all day long you're running in between the two. It's not like you're some fucking stoic who lives in the mountains and is studying these things, and you always don't have an ego. Like, of course, like, people are human. Is any of what I'm saying right now is making sense? I'm just saying, when you ask after the fact, you're probably not going to get the answer you want, and they're going to get very defensive. And then you really don't know the correct answer of what you're thinking of. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's like, I think you kind of just, wow, I'm seeing so many female cops lately. It's really adorable. Also, shout out to all of the female semi-truck drivers I've been seeing lately, and the forklift drivers. Toot, toot. It's like so badass. Like, the job's going to get done right. They're all wearing their seatbelts, so they're not going to lose their jobs over that. I know this guy who swears that he lost his forklift job because of the one time he was not wearing his seatbelt. But I see so many violations all the time. This guy was like on his phone while operating the forklift, while like beeping for pedestrians to get out of the way. And I was like, wow, that's some mad tasking skills. Wow. I feel like I'm trying to condense an episode into 35 minutes, and I'm at the airport right now, so I'm gonna log off in a minute. But I was like, I'm trying to get to a point where I have shorter episodes because I don't know. I think the people that love my episodes are going to love it regardless if they're an hour and a half or 35 minutes. But I'm gonna try, because when people say I talk too much, I'm like, okay, well, I have a lot of things to say. And then when people are like, oh, well, you're not very smart if you talk a lot, fuck you. It's all different. Anyways, love yourself, be yourself, believe what you want to believe. I personally am a firm, wow, is there a parking lot over here? I'm trying to figure this out. This guy was like, I'm not going to give you a job if you don't know where to park. I'm like, well, bro, how am I going to learn if I've never been here? Like, give me a chance, bro. Give me a chance. There's this guy that bullies me at work, and one of my coworkers saw it today, and he's like, whoa, you should say something to his boss. That's not okay. I'm like, oh, he does this every day. Oh, I should bring it up to his boss and get retaliated even more and have no work? Like, you're funny. Why would I do that to myself? I'm like, no, I just take his shit until 1 p.m. and then my best friend comes in. So it's all good. Anyways, I believe in we're all right. We're all wrong. What you believe in is true for you. But then there's also things in your life that you don't know, and you got to just kind of figure out. I think the older I get, the less I know, and the more I'm going to not pretend. It's not even pretend. I'm not going to say I know everything. Like, we just don't have like all the answers to everything, and we don't get to know. Maybe some psychics and people think that, maybe they know everything, but I know a lot of psychics and a lot of philosophers that cannot make decisions in their own lives. Seriously. It's very easy to give advice for other people, but, a lot of people can't take the advice for themselves. Seriously, though, I'm being serious about that. Same with therapists. People say that people go into therapy because they're in it for themselves. I think that's a little judgmental. I'm sure there's a little truth to that, but also who cares? Seeing something from another person's perspective is really helpful sometimes. And I think a lot of people do have to learn things for themselves. And I think they do. But I think ultimately, the more you think you know and the more you say you know, the more humbled you will get. And I think there's a fine line between settling and trying to make it work and being rational and reasonable with the things you're trying to accomplish in your life. There's a fine line and a delicate balance for all of that. And I think, for the most part, a lot of people are doing the best they can. A lot of people are, but I guarantee you there's a lot of people that could be trying a lot harder. All right, hold on. There's a cop right there. Why could I not make a left? It says I can't make a left, but there's a cop right there. So let's logically do the math here. Do you enter or not? Man, that sucks. Why would I not be able to? Okay, fine, whatever. I'll just waste more gas and go around. It doesn't matter. Well, okay, so the funny story about the war that I'm having with my coworker is he's like, well, if you don't know how to park and you've never done it, I'm just going to take the job away from you. I was like, that's really fucked up, bro. And then, here I am. Now I'm going to have to figure out like how to make this work. And then me being me, call it, the good versus the evil. I was like, hey, before I leave headquarters, like I could still take that job. Like I figured out how to get parking. That was like half the truth. Like I was kind of told, but not the point of the story. He's like, fine, I'll give it back to you. And my coworker's like, he only did that out of spite, like probably because there was no other driver. But it's funny because that's his lesson. I'm one of the top 3 drivers in my company's company. Is that what I'm trying to say? The other 2 work 18 hours a day. No, he said they work 16 hours a day. They work 16 hours a day, and they've been there for over a decade. So I think being top 3, I could settle for top 3. Why are there no U-turns anywhere? Fuck, flicking a bitch, fuck. Man, I did like 3 illegal things right there. I made an illegal U-turn. I did it in the middle of a fucking road. Okay, we're just going to do it. We just did it. We did it. It's Orange County, and they don't do the cameras here yet. We're going to hope for the best. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? How am I supposed to get to the airport? Okay, you guys know I can't multitask, so I'm going to get back to the driving. My point was, he was mad because he didn't want to give me the job because he wanted to be petty and vindictive. But he didn't have any other drivers because I'm one of the best drivers and knows that it will get done correctly and right. So he can hate me all he wants. But I told my friend, I said, the outlook is this. I think nasty little boogers such as themselves, I'm quoting the mummy, do get their comeuppance in the end. Evelyn says that in Mummy. Yes, that's why I changed my name to Evelyn. She's like my hero. Anyways, he'll get his comeuppance, right? He didn't want me to have this job, but he didn't have anybody else who was as diligent and hardworking as me. So it is what it is, bro. If I choose to start hours before most of the company, I'm going to get the job. And you're just going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to give me this job. Do I want to get the job out of spite? No, definitely not. I definitely do not want to get the job out of spite. But at the same time, I got the job. So it is what it is. Literally, it is what it literally is. And I'm just going to try to make it work and be grateful on my end that I got the job. I'm going to try to figure it out and hope for the best. So I don't want to say hopefully he gets his comeuppance, but you know what I mean? It's just like we all live different lives. It kind of doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't. But ask someone who doesn't give a shit about morals and ethics or values to care, to try. Ask someone who's been raised in a privileged life or heavily abused and ask them to care. Can they care? Can they learn to care? Can they learn soft skills? Yes. Do they want to? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? You get to decide on an individual level how you want to be. And I think that's more beautiful. So when you see a good person out there, well, we don't know what their life or background is. That part's kind of a little bit irrelevant. Just be grateful that someone beautiful entered your life and decided to be a good person. And you can be that person too, if you want to. I'm going to go because I super don't know where I'm going right now. And I am not about to do like a million turns trying to figure this out. But man, it looks like Orange County doesn't care. Can I just park next to these cops and pretend to be a cop? I mean, there's no cops in the freaking. You know what? I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna ask them. But I really should not be like talking to you and reversing and trying to talk to a cop at the same time. I just had a question for you. Sorry. Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry. Can I just ask a question? Okay. Okay, I can't ask you a question. Okay, well, that's cute. Did you guys hear that interaction? No, you are not allowed to ask a question. Fuck, that happened to me this morning too. No, if you ask a question, I'm going to take away your job. I get it's for a bus. If there's no buses there, can I ask you a fucking question? God damn, people are brutal. Fuck me sideways. Man, can I ask you a question so that I don't do stupid shit at the airport? Fuck me. My boss, who's not my boss, is like, just ask those people at the airport for help. Well, bro, that works for you. It did not work for me. I'm just going to hang out. I'm just going to hang out here and, just hang out. I'm just going to hang the fuck out. I like how he's like, just park. Just go forward and park. Bro, this is the airport. What does that mean? You don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm doing. Really, I'm going to go now because now this is like, a whole different kind of conversation. I love you guys. Hopefully you got something out of this. Today we talked about sex, politics, and religion. Yes, it can happen and it's beautiful. Okay, take care. Bye. P.S. You guys, obviously I got to go. I just met a literal hero. I stopped this guy, security, and I asked him. He gave me full on fucking directions. He did not give me shit about it. And afterwards I said, you're a fucking hero. The guy back there was not the same as you. But hey, you guys, believe in the good. Believe. This guy gave me the best fucking directions and the inside scoop of exactly what I was supposed to do. And guess what? It wasn't a problem for him. He just did it and it was fine. Don't give up. Never surrender. Watch Galaxy Quest and have a great fucking day. Bye.